Ferrari just dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. They've killed off the Roma and replaced it with something called the Amalfi. And honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about that name yet. Let me get straight to the point here. The Ferrari Amalfi is Ferrari's new front mid-engine V8 Grand Tourer, and it's packing some serious heat under that sculpted hood. We're talking about a twin-turbo 3.9-liter V8 that's been cranked up to 640 horsepower. That's 20 more horses than the Roma it replaces. Now, before you start thinking this is just a Roma with a facelift and a power bump, hold on. Ferrari has actually done some interesting work here. That V8 engine comes from their award-winning F154 family, but they've given it some serious upgrades. The turbochargers now spin up to 171,000 RPM. Yes, you heard that right. And they've added individual pressure sensors for each cylinder bank. It's the kind of tech you'd expect to see trickling down from their Formula One program. The performance numbers are genuinely impressive. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.3 seconds, 0 to 200 in 9 seconds flat, and a power-to-weight ratio of 2.29 kilograms per horsepower. Ferrari claims that's the best in class, and frankly, it's hard to argue with those numbers. But here's where things get interesting and maybe a little controversial. Ferrari has completely ditched the traditional grille up front. Instead, you get what they call a floating body-colored wing above a dark recessed band. It's bold, I'll give them that, but it's also a pretty radical departure from Ferrari's design language. Some of you are going to love it, others are going to hate it. The interior is where Ferrari has made some smart moves, though. They've brought back physical buttons on the steering wheel, thank goodness, including that iconic aluminum start button. After years of touch-sensitive everything, it's refreshing to see Ferrari acknowledge that sometimes old-school tactile controls just work better. They've also introduced what they call a triple display setup. You get a 15.6-inch digital instrument cluster, a 10.25-inch central touchscreen, and an 8.8-inch passenger display. That passenger screen is actually pretty clever. It shows things like G-forces and engine revs so your co-pilot can feel more involved in the driving experience. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. That name, Amalfi. It's named after the famous Italian coast, and Ferrari has even created a special launch color called Verde Costiera, inspired by the sea reflections along that coastline. It's poetic, sure, but it's also a pretty big departure from Ferrari's traditional naming conventions. No numbers, no references to racing circuits, just a place name. The aerodynamics package is where Ferrari's engineers have really shown off. There's an active rear spoiler that automatically adjusts based on your driving conditions. In high-speed cornering or hard braking, it switches to what they call high downforce mode, generating an extra 110 kilograms of downforce at 250 kilometers per hour. That's the kind of active aero that used to be reserved for supercars. Here's something that might surprise you. Ferrari has actually focused on making this car more practical. The 2+2 configuration means you can actually use those rear seats for kids or extra cargo space. It's got a 273-liter boot, which isn't huge, but it's respectable for a sports car. They've even added an optional front lift system that can raise the car by 40 millimeters to clear speed bumps and driveways. But let's be honest about a few things. At 1,470 kilograms dry weight, this isn't exactly a lightweight. Yes, they've shaved off some mass with lighter camshafts and a redesigned engine block, but modern Grand Tours are heavy beasts, and the Amalfi is no exception. The pricing hasn't been announced yet, but given that this replaces the Roma, expect it to slot in somewhere around the €200,000 mark, probably more with options. And knowing Ferrari, those options will add up quickly. So what's the verdict on the Ferrari Amalfi? It's technically impressive, undoubtedly fast, and probably very capable as a daily driver sports car. The question is whether that controversial front end and the departure from traditional Ferrari naming will resonate with buyers. Ferrari is clearly trying to attract a younger, more modern audience, but they're also risking alienating traditionalists. What do you think about Ferrari's latest Grand Tour? Are you sold on that grille-less front end, or does it look too radical for a Ferrari? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to see more first looks at the latest supercars, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, there's a lot more coming this year that you won't want to miss.